AEW Women's Champion Thunder Rosa is catching a lot of heat online currently with all the Twitter scuttlebutt about her sandbagging her opponents. There was an indie wrestler who recently tweeted out something to the effect about Thunder Rosa in her recent match with Marina Shafir had basically been sandbagging her and purposely making her look bad and being difficult to work with. And then just kind of going on a rant about how that makes, both of you look like shit and so on. And this tweet was actually liked by both Marina Shafir and Britt Baker, who has worked with Thunder Rosa a couple times, and quite frankly, being the biggest women's star in AEW, one of the biggest women's stars in wrestling, quite frankly, carries a lot of weight and legitimacy towards that. So that even had me second guessing. Was Thunder Rosa really that bad? Because I loved Thunder Rosa. I thought very highly of her. She's one of my favorite women's wrestlers. Check out this clip where Thunder Rosa was asked directly. She was on the Arial Helwani show, and she was confronted with this. So let's hear from her mouth herself on how she responds to these allegations.
I see a lot of people slandering your name right now online, saying that you were stiff, you sandbagged Marina Shafir. What is going on here? Because I feel like, and I see people liking tweets, and I feel like people are not respecting the champ. All right. So what is happening here? Where's this hate coming from? And can you address that? Is that true? Did that really happen?
No. And I'm gonna say it like how I said in the New York Post. I have nothing but respect for my opponents. Nothing but respect for my opponents. Because anyone that dares to stay in the ring with me, I have nothing but respect to my opponents. And I send them nothing but blessings. And I will, like I said, moving on forward, I will continue to work harder to have the best matches I can bring and to bring the most opportunities for all the women that are behind me. So when they step in the ring with me, they're like, okay, cool. People, like I said, people are going to talk, and that's fine. I'm not worried about that. I will continue to move forward, and I will continue to show with my body of work what am I all about.
I like to consider myself a little bit intuitive, and when Ariel asked her that question, and props to Ariel for just flat out asking that question, by the way. I think in interviews, a lot of times it's really easy to just kind of do the softball questions, and you don't want to go out and do the gotchas and the attackings because you're not going to get a lot of interviews that way either. But Ariel's such a great interviewer, and he's able to ask this question to Thunder straight up without pussyfooting around it at all. But he asked it so earnestly, like, what's going on with this? Is this true? Without like being accusing or gotcha or anything. And I felt like watching Thunder react to that, she felt like she was on the spot a little bit. She kind of froze for a second, had to kind of calculate how she was going to answer that. And she kind of rambled through it and kind of answered that she's not sandbagging anybody. So with Britt responding to this in her tweet, and Marina, not respond, but liking it, which is kind of endorsing that idea, right? You don't like that tweet if you don't endorse that claim. And Marina as well kind of got me second guessing, like I'd always thought, like Thunder's got to be one of the most talented female wrestlers I've ever seen. I love her matches, but then it goes back to remember that whole thing with Ivelisse too, and that supposedly Ivelisse was being difficult to work with in the ring, and she kind of put that blame on Thunder, but because Thunder was the shiny new toy at the time and the better talent and the one that Tony had his eye on, Ivelisse kind of got the bone in that situation, right? And everybody kind of blamed Ivelisse as being difficult to work with or just, sandbagging Thunder back then. So there's been a number of claims that have gone towards this, but I offer you in defense. I offer another clip here where Jim Cornette threw in his 2 cents.
Well, no, all of this was Marina, and because even if you're trying to feed somebody your legs or your arms or something so they can get a hold on you, when you don't know what they're doing, you don't really know which way to turn, and then they drop what they've got of yours. They drop it because you turned the wrong way because you don't know where you're fucking going. I mean, she fucked up a snapmare. Possibly a clash of styles here. I've seen smoother shoots. And she almost killed Rosa with a snap suplex.
So Cornette seems very adamant, like almost laughably adamant. Like, yeah, no, Marina Shafir's just a shitty wrestler. And Thunder was trying her best with Marina, but wasn't getting anywhere. Now, Marina's had some pretty horrible matches. She's not a great wrestler. So I don't know what to think about this situation because Britt's green, but Britt endorsed that tweet, which leads me to believe that Britt also thinks that Thunder is difficult to wrestle with in the ring, or that she may have sandbagged her a couple times or whatever. But Britt also doesn't have the experience that, say, like a Jim Cornette is infinitely wise, right? Like, I might not agree with a lot of the things that he has to say. I think, he's antiquated and dated in a lot of things and just has an outdated view on things, but that doesn't take away his knowledge of professional wrestling. At its core, wrestling is always wrestling, and, he can spot shit inside the ring that other people just aren't. So, at this point, who do you believe? Do you take the word of Marina Shafir, some fucking indie guy, and Britt Baker and Ivelisse, all of which kind of back and support this claim that Thunder Rosa is kind of sandbagging people and making people look bad in the ring? And I don't know where that comes from. If that's the case, why she'd be doing that? Wrestling is... You're never going to make yourself look better by making your opponent look worse. The idea is not to make everybody you work with look like shitty wrestlers and make yourself look like the best wrestler on the planet so that you get the high spot on the... Because now you're just wrestling with a bunch of shitty wrestlers who hate you. I would think the idea is to make even the worst wrestlers on your roster, like a Marina Shafir, try to make them look as good as you can. Make them look like $1 million so that you can come back and have another match with them, and they're better the next time, and it's a better match the next time, and there's just no logical sense. Even if you're trying to play politics and up your status in a company behind the scenes, you don't do that by making your opponents look worse in the ring. It's just the absolute dumbest, worst thing you could possibly do in a wrestling match. Why would you do it? But all those people say that Thunder is, or at least endorse the idea that that's what Thunder's doing. Thunder did kind of stutter through it when Ariel asked her, but Jim Cornette seems very adamant that any fuck up that happened in that specific match was all on Marina, and that Thunder looked to be doing her best to try to work with her. So who do you believe? You kind of want to lean with the experience of a Cornette, but there's a good handful of other people that are backing this claim. So I think this is one to watch. I hate to see this be the case. If this is the case, like I said, I am, very much a mark for Thunder Rosa. I think she's a shining star in that women's division, just as a wrestler, as a character. I feel like her matches are usually fights. They're not going to be the powder puff kind of go through the motions, half-assed, paint by numbers wrestling match that a lot of these women wrestlers have. No knock to that, but watch some of these women wrestlers. Like, you watch an Anna Jay match, she does a little whip you into the corner, but she just barely, like, there's no concept of this is supposed to look like an actual, where I gotta throw you into the corner. I'm just gonna, here, you go over here, and then I'm gonna run, and then we do this. And a lot of those women's matches look like that. The very paint by numbers and without the actual why in it. And Thunder Rosa is very physical. Her matches are intense. She looks great in the ring. She's got a character, a style, a presence, with the paint. She's got an iconic look in that way. She doesn't just blend in with everybody else. She's very loud and charismatic, and she's she's an undeniable personality, right? Like, she's not going to blend into the background at all. So and she's a great person to put out there, just for, you know, her ethnicity and being a woman, being a woman of color, being a woman of Hispanic origin. Like, all of that stuff it's a great poster child for your women's division. So I think her being the champion is great in AEW, but we got to watch this. Making all of her opponents look like shit, and she's just out for self. That shit's not gonna. It's not gonna fly. It needs to be addressed by somebody who knows what's going on. I don't know if Serena Deeb has ability to say. I know she does some trainer work, and I know she's a veteran enough to, and she's worked with Thunder. I don't think Thunder would have the balls to try to sandbag Serena Deeb. But, you know, maybe a Deeb can kind of look at a few of these matches and be able to call that shit out. But, you know, at this point, I'm going to lean towards Cornette over some of the greener wrestlers. And maybe just chalk this up to Thunder being a little bit too stiff and real out there. I think Thunder goes out there to have a fight. And I think some of these other women's wrestlers go out there to have a match, have a little paint by numbers. And granted, like a Marina Shafir is probably not somebody you're going to want to have a fight with. But that appears to be the case. So until, you know, I'm going to keep an eye on it. We'll see where it goes, and we'll address it if shit gets worse. But until then, you know, it's she said, he said kind of stuff.
Let me tell you something, brother. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on this channel, dude. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers, brother.